This is Ryan.
And I'm John.
Welcome to preview season.
Oath of the Gatewatch.
All right.
Heyo.
Hey, we got another amazing episode of Oath of the Gatewatch cards here that we are excited to talk about.
Oath of the Gatewatch. I love that intro.
That's great, yeah. The reverb on there is just so choice.
In my humble opinion, it is great.
That's great. All right. For this episode, we're going to take a look at multicolored, maybe some lands, maybe some colorless, just kind of wrap up all the stuff that we didn't cover in the other episodes that were all color specific.
Yeah.
Right. So let's take a look, starting with some gold cards. There's 3 multicolored legendary creatures. They're all rare. So let's take a look at them first in terms of probably commander. Or maybe tiny leaders, if there's like 8 of you out there that still play that format. That's great. Good on you.
Refresh me on the rules of tiny leaders.
So you get to pick a commander type character who's got to cost 3 or less mana, and then every card in your deck has to match color identity, same as commander, but everything also has to be 3 or less mana again. So basically the rule is 3 or less, it's good to go.
Does your commander in tiny leaders have to be a legend?
Yeah, ooh, man, I don't even know. I think so. I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like commander, but smaller.
Sure.
And I think the deck is only like 30 or 40 cards instead of like 100. Or you see how much I care. No, all right. Here come the comments. Here comes the angry. Oh boy.
You did it now.
I'm sorry. I just don't have room for tiny leaders in my life right now.
There's a lot. Magic's a big game.
Well, all right. Let's take a look. Ayli, Eternal Pilgrim.
So I was complaining about this in my desk this morning. This card is named Ayli, which sounds a lot like ally.
So
there
close.
are allies in this set.
Yeah.
This is not an ally.
No.
Why?
She's a mean vampire cleric, I think.
Core cleric.
Jeez, I can't do anything right.
It looks like a vampire.
She looks like a
I'll give you credit for that. Looks like a
She has
vampire.
death touch like a vampire.
Yeah, maybe this card should be a
She
vampire.
costs 2 mana, so into tiny leaders.
We'll write a joint letter.
Yeah, all right. So really, she makes for an affordable commander, in legit commander I'm talking about.
Sure.
Her death touch means she can trade with just about anything all game long. You're probably not going to win through dealing commander damage off of her 2 power. I don't think the other players at your table are going to let you keep your life total high enough to use her removal ability either. So in the end, you're just kind of left with a commander that's easy to cast and fights well enough on her own. So
This card has a lot of text.
it does.
I mentioned that when we previewed it.
Yes.
And I mean, it's got to be good, right?
I think so. Constructed, absolutely. Again, the commander format, I'm not so sold on her there, but I could see it going in either black-white or like an Abzan deck even could make it
Yeah,
work
sometimes
out.
you just need a sack outlet.
Yeah.
And Ayli, which is not ally, is pretty good for that.
Yeah, little aristocrats kind of a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Jori En, Ruin Diver.
I like this card.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? 3
It's the right
mana.
colors.
It's another tiny leaders card.
Oh, boy.
Man. All right. So one of the downfalls of group magic, right, multiplayer magic, is that you draw your card on your turn, and then you got to wait like 3 or 4 more other people to take their turns before you to draw again.
Accurate.
So that puts a limit on how much you can interact with your opponents on each of their turns. Jori En can kind of get around that, right? So you fire off 2 spells a turn, and then you get to reload at least one of them. So that's perfect for red and blue, which already love cheap spells to begin with. You can even add in maybe like Phyrexian mana cards, so you don't have to use up all of your mana. You can just pay life instead.
This guy's definitely the right colors.
Yeah, or cards that replace themselves already. Those are great. And cantrip stuff, anything that lets you draw another card afterwards. Well, now you can play 2. If one of them already draws you a card, then this guy draws you another card. You could just be refilling your hand constantly, so you can really keep that tempo up all game. Also, fun note, Jori En's a game day promo, so there's going to be a full art version of this floating around. Scoop that up, because full art commanders are super cool.
Yeah, you will be the coolest person ever if your commander is full art and foil. So
Yeah.
just so you know.
All right. Mina and Den, Wildborn.
This is an ally.
It is.
These are an ally.
This is an allies?
This
Where does the plural go? I don't even...
Oh yeah,
English
it's
so
wonderful.
hard. All right, so it's probably the most flexible commander design-wise out of these 3 legendary creatures, right? So you can go with allies, you can go with landfall because they let you play 2 a turn.
You go with elves.
You can go with elves. You can go with ramping into big creatures and giving them trample.
Yes.
You're probably going to do some combination of all 3, which is totally fine, because commander offers access to a lot of great lands, and being able to play multiples in a turn can help you ramp into some of your bigger kind of haymaker spells. You can do a lot with this one.
Seems quite good.
Good color combination, lots of cool tribal support, and whole bunch going on there. We like it.
Seems good.
And again, even a regular constructed 4/4 for 4 with a bunch of relevant abilities in a block set that kind of really cares about all that stuff. So I like it. Good solid card all around for lots of formats.
I think it's probably going to see play in Standard once Siege Rhino's gone.
Yep.
The effect seems really powerful. Being able to just play 2 lands a turn by itself, attached to a 4/4 for 4, seems very good.
Yep. All right. Let's switch over and look at a land real quick.
Let's do it.
Mirrorpool.
Mirrorpool enters the battlefield tapped.
It does.
It adds a colorless to your mana pool.
Sure does.
And it copies. So it's a mirror pool, so it can copy either an instant or sorcery or a creature.
Yeah.
So
it makes your best spell or creature twice as good, right?
Yeah.
So since a lot of kind of the utility lands out there provide colorless mana now, right, it should be easy to hit the activation cost on this thing.
Totally.
It's probably better used to double a creature rather than a spell, since that'll stick around longer, and you can kind of spread the cost over 2 turns, right? So you play the creature 1 turn, next turn everything untaps. You pour it into the mirror pool to get your clone kind of out there, as opposed to trying to dupe a spell on the stack where you got to have enough mana to use the mirror pool and pay for the spell to begin with. So
you only get to interact with that spell once.
Yep.
So that is a huge cost.
Yep. So I like this one, for Commander, where the mana does flow a little bit easier and the creatures are bigger and more fun to kind of duplicate. I don't know about Constructed though. What am I looking to get a copy of here that I don't already have 4 of in my deck?
Siege Rhino. You just get 5 of them.
There you go. Copies 5 through 8.
Pretty great.
And then
Gate. Great.
Pretty good and great. It's Gate. Okay. Let's take a quick peek at some colorless stuff.
Sure.
Endbringer. We didn't talk about him during previews, I don't think, but he does seem to live up to his name, right? So in Commander, you get to untap with him at the start of each player's turn, so he's basically always there, ready to do 1 free damage to something, somewhere.
Sure.
In Standard, he provides you with cards and a way to prevent attacks or blocks that you don't want to deal with. So he seems kind of like this Swiss Army knife of abilities that are all crammed onto 1 card.
It's totally.
Only question is how hard it is to run colorless mana sources. Still not really sure. We don't.
Yeah, this seems more like Commander. So in Standard, I think colorless mana sources are going to come easily enough so that by the time you have 6 mana, you should just be able to play this guy no problem if you really want to.
Yep.
But I'm not sure he's going to do enough for his cost. Like, he has a lot of abilities and it's a cool card. This is like one of those really cool cards with a lot of fun abilities on it. It's super versatile. You get to do whatever you want with it, but it costs infinity.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I'd love to play with this card. I probably will have a lot of fun playing this card unlimited. If I open it, I'm slamming it.
Totally.
Like, I can't pass this card, but I don't see it in a 60 card deck.
Okay. All right. Last one I want to take a look at, Captain's Claws. Piece of equipment. All right. So I forgot to mention this one when we talked about Stonehaven Outfitter. This seems like it'd be a really great piece of equipment for Relic Seeker to go and find.
Oh, man.
Because then you can start spamming out those core tokens while doing your best impression of like a kind of build your own Brimaz King of Oreskos.
Yeah, and then you get the triggers of the allies.
Exactly.
And you build your deck that way, and you have a lot of stuff going on. I could see that being awesome.
Yeah.
Man, it costs 1 to equip. That usually what happens is the equipment is really cheap and the cost is kind of built into the equip cost, but this is reverse. So that seems much better than kind of baseline equipment that you get.
I think so.
I really like it.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
And every time they try and kill the guy who's wearing this, if you got Stonehaven Outfitter out there, you'll draw a card too. So you just kind of keep. So like, well, do I let this thing keep attacking and spamming out guys? Do I try and kill it? And then
Sounds like we're going off.
They just cheaply move it to somewhere else and benefit up a card. Like,
this deck sounds great.
I think so. I'm going to start tinkering around with that. All right.
Man, Stoneforge Masterwork and this card
Yeah.
could just be like you could teach a math class with this. Like, you could teach a grade school math class. Like, okay, I have 2 copies of Captain's Claws on this guy, and I have a Stoneforge Masterwork on the other guy, and I attack with them both. What happens? What's my power and toughness over everything?
How my opponent flips the table. What's the velocity of... All right. So there's some really great stuff out there in multicolor and in colorless and in the lands. So make sure you get your pre-orders in. Please, oh please. TCGplayer.com. We've got it all out there. Oath of the Gatewatch. All the cards are available right now for pre-order. So don't fall behind. Get your orders in. Anything you want to say about Limited, Constructed, Commander, John, before we wrap it up here for our review of the entire set?
I need Friday to get here.
Yeah.
I need Friday midnight to get here so I
do
can play. Okay, so the set seems pretty low powered. The commons are not as good as they were in battle, but I don't think that makes for bad gameplay.
No.
I'm so excited to play this set. I can't even think straight.
Can't even.
The rares are kind like
they're winnower.
Yeah. Yeah, my brain is void winnower. The rares are kind of really expensive and really splashy. I think they're perfectly balanced for limited. I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it.
Great.
What do you think, though?
I'm really excited to try Two-Headed Giant because that's something I don't get to do very often. There's a lot of neat cards in here that are designed with surge and kind of abilities that will play into that. So that's going to be a really fun twist on pre-release that I'm probably not going to get to experience again anytime soon. So
sure,
I think it's going to be a great event. Really looking forward to this weekend, and I can't wait to see what the constructed season brings. Like I said, we got a lot of great pros on TCGplayer who are going to probably put together some amazing decks. Connell,
they already
Fred,
have.
Frank, they already are.
So today is Wednesday. You should read Seth and Ayli's articles because they both have crazy Eldrazi decks in them, and they're both awesome.
All right. So there you have it. TCG Player's got you covered for pre-orders, for great content from some of the best players in the game. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, Internet.